So hey guys, thanks for stopping by. We're gonna be working on this 1986 Chevy G20 van. And I'm gonna be getting some front end work on this van done, as well as some of the other little things that I need to get done that I could do in the meantime while waiting on parts. It is fall, guys. Even though it's springtime, all these leaves. Whoa. Anyways, so today I'm gonna actually be checking the entire front end on this van and writing down what I need to go and get replaced. This thing has got such bad play in the steering wheel. It's bad. I mean, I'm talking about at least 6 to 8 inches worth of play in the steering wheel going back and forth like that. And I also got this wheel right here that locked up on me while I was trying to move it. I came in and there was a huge line right here because this thing was burying itself into the rocks. And I know you guys can't see so much rocks because there's so many leaves because of this big old tree. Luckily, this thing wasn't even locked up this time whenever I rolled it in, so it must be going in and out. All right, so let's see what we need to get replaced on this thing. So I got the wheel just about 2 inches off the ground. If anything, I'd go a little lower. So I have the wheel just a little bit off the ground. So then I'll just see if I have any play in that lower ball joint by prying up underneath the tire here. And I jacked it up right underneath the control arm so I can see if it has play right there. If you jack it up underneath the middle of the van on the cross member there, then you're not gonna get a real accurate reading there. It's gotta have all the pressure off of the lower ball joint in order to do this procedure here. So there's play in the bearing. Probably need to go and repack the bearings. And then the tie rod here, this is pretty bad. That thing is loosey goosey. Look at that thing. Look how much play there is. Now that's pretty bad. At least 20% of the play. So there's not so much play in these ball joints as I thought there was gonna be. So we're fine on those. So there's actually a decent gap in between this bushing here for the sway bar that I'm probably gonna have to get replaced. That thing's moving right there. Well, I forgot the name to this thing, but I'll put it up on the screen. But that even has a little bit of play in it also. That noise is mainly coming from the outer tie rod here. But you can see just a little bit of play right there. That thing needs to get replaced also. So the bushings are looking a little cracked, but they are there. That's the good thing. Obviously we're gonna need shocks. Those are pretty rusted out. And even though bushings on the lower control arm don't look too bad, so it's a lot of shims. Almost an inch, but nothing to really worry about right now. I did notice a little bit of rust right here. I believe that actually came from the battery, because battery is just right above it. And so I'm thinking the acid kind of ate away at the metal there, or the paint, and then it got to the metal since it's right here in front of this wheel. We all know that guy that could do it for 20 bucks, but yeah, whoever put these brakes on, this is actually pushed in more, and there's like a pin that goes right here, and kind of like right here, it's supposed to be like a little hook that goes up and around the pin. Well, I don't know if you can see it, but that part is actually below the pin, And that means that this brake pad on this side is actually not aligned correctly. That's got to get addressed also. All right, so we're done looking at this side. I'm gonna go ahead and put the wheel back on and see what we're looking like on the other side, on the passenger side. The idler arm, you can kind of just see from just the wheel itself how much play it is. It shouldn't even be moving at all, this wheel. It should be straight ahead and not have any play whatsoever. And if it does, it's gonna be very insignificant. That's got to get replaced. Then the wheel bearing on this side, there's not much of any play on this, but this side with the bushings and everything on the control arms, even the ball joints upper and lower, they're actually pretty good. Except for the play that's significant right here. Not so much brand new, but new to the vehicle because this thing is not completely rusted all out. So now I've got to see if the caliper's locking up or if it's the brake line causing it to stick. Obviously it just let loose here because now I can spin it by hand. But I just noticed something also, it's gonna need rotors because these rotors right here are pitted. All right, so we're back at the junkyard again. I need a lot of parts for that van. And I was gonna buy it all new, all the parts, and it was about to be $700 plus to get what I need, all brand new. And we're talking cheap here, like Amazon, eBay, all that good stuff. I'm actually gonna see if I can find a rotor here, see if I could get some of the linkage, the tie rod in, see if they're good or not, see how far we could get with that stuff. Because I just saw the van is still out there and they haven't taken it yet, and there's a lot of parts that have been stripped off this thing. So I need brake lines too. I might snag some of them up. I'm gonna get this brake hose right here and this caliper, the idler arm. I'm gonna take that also. Tie rod in on that side looks like it's fresh too. I guess somebody left the lid off of the master cylinder, so I don't know if that's gonna be any good at all. All right, so I just got back from the junkyard and I actually got me some decent parts here. And I also got the brake line for the passenger side as well. Like I said, I was on a budget, so I just went ahead and got these parts. They're good. There's no movement in them. I was gonna replace the entire front end with all brand new parts. I'm trying to still get this down to being a budget build. I mean, this was only $7. That was only like 15 bucks. That was $10, and that was 20 bucks. And it wasn't that many parts that needed to be redone. The one thing I am gonna get brand new is the master cylinder. Then we'll do a brake flush on it. So Oliver's out here in the garage with me. So I don't know how this is gonna work out, if he's gonna want to climb out of that thing or not. All right, so we got all the new used parts on here. There's the new to us idler arm, and then another used brake line here. That was in pretty good shape still. I might have found part of the problem here. You probably see it's got a little bluing there. I think the cylinder got stuck on its way out and it didn't want to go back in. And on top of that, there was nothing left on the brake pads here because I couldn't even move this to go back in because this thing was locked. Getting seriously hot there. All right, we got it put together. I just got done bleeding the airs out of the brakes. I was gonna do the alignment on it, but the ground's pretty dirty underneath there, and it's got a lot of brake fluid on the ground and water. So that's why I'm not getting under there just yet. I'm gonna move this van, see how it drives, and clean up the area here. Tools are everywhere. So it's running a whole lot better. So it actually runs a whole lot better. It actually doesn't heat up as much. The coolant temperature isn't going up like it did before. I think I didn't even see it go above 180, which was pretty nice. And I believe the main cause of why it was overheating was this brake caliper was locked up on this side, causing the engine to work a lot harder, and that's why it was overheating. It was a little bit to do with that fan and the fan shroud not being there, but the majority of it was because the brakes weren't working. I have the old master cylinder in it right now. I just wanted to go and take it out on a test drive. Before I ordered it, it's actually cruising at a lot lower RPMs than it was before I did the brakes on this thing. I still think I have air in the system. I didn't have anybody else's help to go and bleed the air out of these lines, so. It hasn't even gone over 185 or 180 or whatever is on there. Man, I gotta get that exhaust leak thing on and this thing fixed. I'm most likely gonna get a whole new exhaust here, all the way out to the back. And when I say new, I mean new to the van. I've got a lot of exhaust pieces here in the back. I shouldn't have any problem with getting exhaust all the way out the back. So I should be good on that part. So today I got half of the leaves off. You can see I have rocks now. I just blew them off to the side here so we wouldn't slip in the leaves, because there's a lot of leaves and I didn't want anybody to get hurt and slip in them. On today's agenda, I'm gonna get this bracket put in here for the steering column. So I went and bought this bracket here from the junkyard, and I thought I was gonna have to cut it because it didn't look like it was going to fit. Like, it's about an inch or two gap in between here, and there's actually a pretty good gap here in between the steering column and the circumference of where it's supposed to sit. So I think the guy that I bought this van from took this thing off right here, never put it back, because he was messing with stuff in here to get this thing to start and everything. And it was mainly holding on from the bracket down here in the firewall. And I think over time, this thing just slowly started bending downward. And that's why there's a pretty big air gap right there, and why it's about 1.5 inches to 2 inches from where it's supposed to be. Because everything lines up, it just needs to be pushed up. So I'm hoping this thing is just gonna plop back up. I might have to get the jack and force it up, because it's not easy pushing this thing up. So, well, would you look at that? It went in. It was pretty hard to push in, and I'm wondering, I'm gonna have to put some sealant around here on the bottom, because I think it pulled up, but that's fine. It actually went in, and I'm pretty glad that it did, because that thing was pretty hard to push up. I crossed this thing off my list now. I was gonna get a fan shroud on here, and I am, but right now I'm not gonna put it in. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna take these electric fans out of here. I'm gonna get this big old loom of wire out of here. Well, that was real easy getting these fans out. There's like 8 holes that you're supposed to have this thing clipped down to the radiator. Well, there was only 3. And what I mean is there was only 2 zip tie things holding this thing on, and only 1 on that one. I mean, works out for me, but that was ridiculous. So now I'm gonna go ahead and try to see if I can make the battery mount, the battery tray here, see where we can go with that. So I'm gonna make the battery tray from this tray. Found this for $1 where you bin store. The nice thing about it is it's got these voids here that that'll help with draining the battery if it starts getting stuff out of it, or if it gets water in that area, so nothing is being held in there. Let me go ahead and take that battery out and see what it looks like put in this thing. It was pretty much right on. It's just a little bit wider, that's all. I wonder if it'll fit in there just like it is, actually. Be pretty nice, and I don't have to cut it or anything. Well, it's looking like it is too wide. It is hitting the steering column there, and it's already wedged up against the bar over here. I'll just trim a little bit and it should fit in there. All right, battery tray's in. I got 2 screws there and 2 screws over on the side there. Tuck this away. It fits pretty dang snug, but at least I know now this thing won't shift around. It's actually like right in there. So that's it for this video. We're getting closer to it being done every single day we work on this thing. So if you like this video, hit that thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.